There we should be on. Oh, this live streaming. So many things to figure out. Oh, let's see. Of course, as always, we'll have to kind of wait a little bit and see who shows up. All right, we're starting to get people in here. 38 people already. All right, cool. Now I'm just going to kill a little bit of time at first because usually takes a little while for everybody to come in. I got to turn my headphones down here. There. So I'm trying to live stream using my Sony camera today, as well as my other camera over here. So we got two cameras going at once this time. Let's see, we've got 40 people. We will be doing a Q&A, but it'll be after I go through some information, some announcements, letting you guys know kind of what's going on in this video. I haven't done a live stream in a long time. It's been about 6 months or so. They're actually a lot of work. I think the last live stream was when we had the 100,000 subscriber silver play button back there. I'm going to turn this down some more. So unless I bring my wife in to talk, I'm going to do without my headphones because there's a time delay. So I hear myself, I talk and then I hear it in my headphones like a second or two later and it drives me crazy. So, all right, let's see. We got 35 people in here. And yeah, so we're going to cover a bunch of things in this video and then we're going to go into a Q&A. And so like one of the things we're going to do is we're going to cover that recent subject of why we were thinking of flipping a schoolhouse, why we didn't do it, and so on. We're going to talk about the fact that we are getting really close to building our own home, and we will probably build a Barndominium and then later do a Golden Eagle log home. If we don't buy, we're still open to buying, but you know, the market's crazy right now. We're going to see how that goes when that time comes. And then we will cover the fact that I'm redoing my website completely and why that matters to you. We may touch upon a little bit of my health issues. A lot of you know I've had a lot of major health issues and you ask about it sometimes, so I may go over that briefly. I'll tell you about some videos we're going to be working on all three channels and why we have three channels. I'm also going to be restarting on my ebook soon. I'm working really hard on getting to that point, and I'll tell you how that's going. And then I will be working on the drywall courses, which include a video and an ebook. So anyway, I have my wife over there watching, monitoring you guys. She'll be monitoring the comments and popping them up when we get to the Q&A section. And she may just pop some up now and then that are just general comments you guys are making. But again, if you got questions about things I'm going to be talking about, that's fine. But we will be covering the Q&A session where you can just ask me anything a little bit later. So hold on to those thoughts, but do please introduce yourself. It's good to see you guys coming in from, you know, Ohio and everywhere. We actually, in case you didn't know, we actually have viewers all over. I get comments from Japan, just everywhere. It's pretty bizarre sometimes, but anyway, I think we've waited long enough for people to come in, so we'll start covering some of these subjects here. And I think what I'll do is start with the flipping the schoolhouse. I posted several posts about we found this schoolhouse that we might want to flip, and let's do this. And we got a lot of comments about it. Well, this is the one right here. This is the actual listing. So first of all, yes, it's in rough shape on the outside, but if you look through here, you can see that they put a lot of work on the inside. They've already done a lot of the flipping part of it. This is an 8-bedroom or 8-bathroom, I think, 6-bedroom layout the way they have it. And looking at it, I looked it over many times, and I would have asked a lot more questions. We were trying to get a date to go see it with our realtor. That's when we found out that they were already taking bids or offers. They were going to take a cash offer only, and that was after just 2 days on the market. This thing has gotten huge amount of interest because it has a lot of potential. Now, I know it had those defects some of you noticed. We definitely saw it. I think it shows like right here. And that looks pretty bad, but there is foundation repair company right here in this town. You can often jack up the foundation, restore it. So we were going to ask a lot of questions. We weren't just going to run in there and buy it. But the plan was, we did some research, and if you turn this into a bed and breakfast, people love unique bed and breakfast. So this one, you would be staying in a schoolhouse, but it would look like a modern building inside. And the fact that they've done all this work tells me they most likely have replaced all the wiring, the plumbing, because this thing, as you see right here, it was made in 1910. They probably had really lousy plumbing, and if they had much wiring, I mean, it was probably really basic. So I have a feeling it's been completely redone inside. But we did the numbers, and there was our daughter was willing to run this for us. She was really excited about the prospect of running a bed and breakfast and living there. So we kind of already were making plans for a bed and breakfast. And then down the road, once we got it all fixed up, we would resell it. Well, the fact that they required a complete payment in cash right up front, well, that knocked us out of that. So that's why I changed my mind about it. We just didn't have any choice. We aren't wealthy by any means. I saw some of you made comments. Somebody made a comment that if I've got to ask you guys for advice on whether to buy something like this, then maybe I shouldn't be in this business or thinking about it. Well, I put that out there just to generate comments. It's called engagement on YouTube. We try and keep engaged with our viewers by posting things that get you talking. If I post a picture and nobody comments, it doesn't do much good. That got you guys talking. I do read every comment. I do listen. Sometimes you guys have some advice that I want to take into consideration. But a lot of times you honestly don't know the whole situation. Like the other thing is, videos like this can generate millions of views. We've seen it. I've been studying YouTube. Guys, I live YouTube almost 24/7. When I'm watching TV, I'm answering your comments or I'm posting something. I don't stop. I go like all day long. I've studied YouTube forever. It's to the point where when I watch videos on the YouTube gurus these days, they don't really tell me anything anymore. I've just heard it all. I pretty much have it figured out. And a dramatic video and dramatic remodel like this would generate tons of views. And that could make us as much as $50,000 a month or more. So there's another channel that did this. He did one, he called it, I Bought an Abandoned Mansion, Demolition Ranch. I'm sure some of you know about him. He did it on his second channel called Off the Ranch. and he was generating somewhere around 5 million views a month just because of that building. And it was dramatic. He bought one that had been abandoned for 20 years. So it was run down, the windows were broke out, it was half rotted, but it generated a lot. So he made a ton of money. I estimate he made over $500,000 off YouTube merchandise. He gets sponsors every video that pay him probably $5,000 because he's a lot bigger than I am. And he made a ton of money because it was so crazy. So sometimes that's what we got to look for. Yeah, one day I hope to have that kind of cash laying around. I'm working on it. And let's see. Yeah, we didn't even get to go look at it, so I don't really know much about what the inside, anything about the mechanicals or electrical or whatever. That was going to be our first step. Go look at it, get some information, then get a structural engineer to check it out. Guys, I've been in construction most of my life. As some of you know, I walked on stilts in 1969 when I was 8 years old. I've been around construction a lot. I know quite a bit about things like this, so I'm not naive to the problems that can go on. But YouTube, with my channel, I could make a lot more money in a way off of a dramatic flip than I can off the flip itself. Just kind of the way it works. I won't get into that too much more, but let's say the next step, the next subject here, building our own home. So our YouTube channel is doing pretty good these days. It's paying all of the bills. We're kind of making a little bit of profit, but it's paying all the bills and we have a little bit left over. So it's growing. So if I get my health back in order, the sooner I do that, the sooner we can build this even more. I have so many things I want to do for this channel that will help you guys. And if I help you guys, we make a profit. That's just how this works. So that's my main goal here. Sounds like I got a kitty in the room. So we already could go buy some land and get a loan to build a Barndominium. Now, if you don't know what a Barndominium is, well, let me show you here. That's a Barndominium, and it's basically a metal building that looks like a barn on the outside, but when you go on the inside, it can be just as luxurious as a home. But our thought was to build like a 4,000 square foot shop, because I need that to expand all these YouTube channels that I'm going to be talking about. And we would build a small living space up front, and then we would start working on building our dream home. And to build our dream home, we want to be out in the country. So that's one reason we haven't bought a house in a while. We've been trying to get back on our feet so that we could buy land out in the country. We want like minimum of 10 acres, but maybe 35, 40 acres. And then we would build a log home. Now this is probably out of our reach here, but this is the company that we're looking at. It's called Golden Eagle Log Homes. They build absolutely gorgeous homes, and the main thing is they do it right. It's really well built, top of the line, quality wise. We're not looking for fancy. We just want a really efficient home that is really well built and comfortable to us. These guys do that. So this spring, we're going to be looking at land, or if we can find a home that's already built, we'd love to just move into one that we like out in the country. But if not, we'll probably start by building a big shop and the Barndominium style, and then start working on building and designing our dream home. That's going to be our forever home. My wife and I say that that's going to be the one that you sweep us up off the floor, and that's when we move out. So Okay, so let me figure out how to run my software again here. So anyway, the next thing is the website. The reason I'm going to bring that up is because I've long wanted to redo the website to make it a lot more useful for you guys. So it's going to have a totally new layout, and it's going to show you a lot of things. Like, I'm going to show you how you can get support from me. I do offer a consulting service on your projects in varying degrees. You can find that there. Let's see, put that back up here. I'm going to have support options. I'll show you how you guys can support us. Some of you want to give back to us financially. Others want to just show some support somehow. We'll show you how you can do that through little things like shopping on Amazon. That's a freebie, as far as it doesn't cost you anything extra, to ways you can join us on Patreon and so on. Let's see. I'm also going to be putting together a bunch of tool lists on there. A lot of you... God. Hang on, everybody. Oh. Well, cats just got me. Oh, they were back there playing and knocked everything down. So anyway, hopefully my sound's still on now. Hang on, I gotta redo some things here. Okay. Boy, live streaming. Okay, so back to whatever I was doing there. Man, that distracted me. Everything came crashing down back here. Anyway, I'm going to have a whole tool list on there. So it's going to be like a basic tool list for those of you that just want to dabble in it. And then on up, I'll give you some different tool lists, what I would recommend, with links where you can go buy them. And you'll better get 10% off a lot of those tools by using my links. And then I'll also put links to other things that we mention in videos, accessory tools, things we review, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of good information there. Oh, let's see. Let's quickly go over my health. Because I don't know who all is familiar with our story, really. Let me just go back about 4 years ago. I found out that I have prostate cancer. It was really minor. Then 3 years later, we found out it grew from 1 section out of 12 to 4 out of 12. So I'm working on that right now. I'm talking to the urologist. They may be doing a CAT scan on me to see if it has spread. My PSA number's been low, so we're just keeping an eye on that. I haven't done any radiation because it's really the last thing I want to do. I always have a hard time talking here. So. Okay, then I got vertigo about 3 years ago, and it's vertigo caused by a virus that got into my inner ear, and it actually did 40% nerve damage, so that makes it permanent vertigo. I took 1.5 years to retrain my brain to where it got to where I could ignore the faulty side. I got back to where I could climb a ladder again. Then I got COVID. That was last March. And ever since, I've had long COVID. I also have peripheral neuropathy in my feet, which is an intense burning, stinging pain, which is why you see me barefoot a lot. Shoes are murder to me. I'm way better off going barefoot. That brought on severe restless legs, which really kind of makes it so I can't hardly sleep anymore. If anybody's had restless legs, comment down below. It is hideous. Oh, let's see. And honey, you can pop up any comments you want. Remember, that are just general comments, just not the questions yet. So that was going to my wife, not you guys. Oh, I think I'm overheating in here. So anyway, right now I got back to the doctors. I decided, I thought I had long COVID. Well, I'm still having problems. So I went back to the doctor, and we're doing all kinds of things. So we're diving deeper into it. But right now, I feel like I'm doing a little bit better. My latest thing is I've decided to let my body heal itself. And by that, I mean I'm focusing more on things like meditating in the mornings and believing that my body can heal itself, because I really believe in the power of healing our own self. But I lost that faith over the last year because so many things kept piling on me and piling on me. And I realized that recently, so I'm trying to really refocus my thinking to be more positive again. Let's see, we'll go from there to some upcoming video ideas. Got a bunch of video ideas planned. As some of you know, I want to do some texture sprayer reviews. There's several ones I want to review for you guys. Like one of them is this Graco Fast Finish. I own this gun, and if you do much texture spraying at all, it's a killer texture sprayer. So I want to show you why and what the advantage is, and as it says Fast Finish, that's your clue. Let's see, I also mentioned reviewing the Wagner electric texture sprayer, so I'm going to do that. I got several more in the Drywall Mistakes videos series to do. I've got a skim coating video coming up that I've shot. I've got one about hot mud secrets, tips and tricks, and I think you guys will really like that, because I think you guys, I bet nobody knows all of these that I'm going to show you. I've probably mixed up 500 bags of hot mud, which is fast setting joint compound. So I've learned a few things about that. We're getting involved with a project called Team C's, and that's with Mark Robert and Mr. Beast. I'm sure you guys have heard of one of them. If not, look them up. They're huge and they're great channels. They're doing a thing to raise $30 million to clean up the ocean. And it's a really good project, so I'll be putting out a video. I think it's this Friday. We all put one out at the same time. Oops, that was supposed to be a secret. I slipped. Okay, don't spread that around too much. Dang it. I'm also going to be giving away an Easy Pro texture sprayer in the next few days, so be watching for that. I plan on doing one, if I can get it done this summer, about how much stronger is 5/8 sheetrock versus 1/2 inch. I got one called the Buttmaster 1000. I won't tell you what that's about, but it is drywall. I'm going to show you why lighting is critical to a good job, and why a lot of the YouTube videos that you might have been misled by in the past fooled you with lighting. Not to say all of them. There's a lot of good channels out there, but there's a lot where, especially the home flipping shows, they're showing you this ideal situation where the lighting is washing out the defect. You're not seeing it, and I'll show you why you need to know that when you're working on your own, because a lot of you guys are going to think you did a great job, paint it, and then discover, oops, it doesn't look so good. I've heard that comment a few times. Yeah, I think it might. So let's see. We're also going to do testing of caulking videos. That my caulking video recently, the one about silicone caulking, is really taken off. So I want to do some more. I have bought a bunch of caulking. I'm going to do short-term test, like overnight, and then long-term. I may let these sit for 6 months. I'm going to set some of them outdoors if they're rated for outdoors, and see if they handle the weather, how much they shrink, contract, so on. We're going to test a product called Big Stretch. It's supposed to stretch a huge amount, and it does. But I'm going to show you that. We're going to test how well it adheres and so on. Let's see. I'm going to show you one that's going to be really controversial. Like, let's see. Okay, reading some of the comments here. It's about caulking the inside angle instead of taping it. There's times when you can, and I know some of you pros out there are going to argue with me on that, but I have proven it, and I'll show you why and when. There's times you shouldn't. We'll do that one. On the Kilted Guy channel, I am going to do one about faux finishes. I took a class one time. It was a week-long class, and I learned all these faux finishes. And so on the Kilted Guy Creates channel, which, let's see, let me switch this one over. There we go. This is my new channel called That Kilted Guy Creates, and on that channel I will start showing you guys how I know how to do all kinds of pretty cool faux finishes, like you can see them there. Let me pull one up in a bigger format here. Let's close that. Like, some are pretty cool here. If I can remember how to do that one's called Snake Skin. This just shows my artistic side. I actually painted that myself, hand painted it, because I wanted to use that for my logo. This way I wasn't encroaching on the copyright part of it. Oh, we do some brushed finishes. Let's see. I've got like 30 different ones I can show you. So we're going to do that on the Kilted Guy Creates side. Come on. There we go. Oh, let's see. I just recently got a laser etcher cutter. I'll be doing a series on that, showing you how it can cut out small pieces of wood, thin pieces of wood, and etch things into it. That's actually a sponsored video. I have a 3D printer. It's not sponsored. I'm going to show you how we can print things. This is all on the Kilted Guy Creates side. I'll show you the truck that we bought and give you a rundown on it, and show you why I hated the truck and I bought it anyway, and now I love it. Storage bin racks. If you guys have ever seen, let me see if I have that picture here handy. Yeah. If you guys have ever seen these storage bin racks that they make kind of like that, I've got an idea for one similar to that I'm going to do. Plus, I'm going to show you my take on this cordless tool rack. I've been doing woodworking all my life. This I made in high school, so in 1978 or 79. You can see the moon boots over here and the funky shirts and all that. I made that 5-sided table in high school, and recently I made this jewelry box for my granddaughter. So we're going to get into the woodworking side of it on the Kilted Guy Creates. I'm supposed to be picking up a shop smith that I can use for lathe. That should be coming here Monday. So I'm trying to get that going soon too. But my health is still limiting me to about 3 to 6 hours a day. So I'm not getting there quite as fast as I want, but we'll keep working on that. Oh, let's see. Also, automotive. I mentioned I'm going to do automotive and woodworking over there. Well, if you wonder why I would say I could do an automotive channel, I'll give you a hint. This is a truck I bought in 1980. It's a 54 Chevy, and I still own that truck. I got it all fixed up back then. It used to look like this. It had power steering, tilt column, bunch of goodies, 400 small block. And I did things like I took the dash from that gnarly mess there to this. It was pretty nice inside. I've also worked on one. My dad and he bought this about 35 years ago. It looked like this. We took and stripped it down. The dash on that was pretty boring too, so I took that dash from that point to that point, and then the outside went from that yellow. We painted it. That's my paint job. Painted it in a shop I had, and the end result was this. Now we still have to do the wiring. Yeah. Still have to do the wiring and the upholstery, but that's it. So I'm going to do that on the Kilted Guy Create side. Let's see what else. But on my main channel, I'm going to show you guys other things like tile. This is an old picture of my old house. I did all my own tile. I did this. These pictures are crappy because they're digital pictures from like 15 or 20 years ago when cameras sucked back then. But I did this really cool soffit. I built all of this entire soffit here. So that's a faux finish on the wall. It's called Ovilla plaster. And then I made this tiered soffit basically, but there's a name for it. And I made a recessed part up here so that the lighting would come out, and this cool quarter round corners. Thank you. Guys, you know, I'm not trying to make myself like some genius or something. Far from that. I know how to do a lot of things because I like to learn. I've been that way ever since I was a kid. I've always been learning, and I get bored pretty easy. Then I move on. I master something and I move on. I keep moving on, and I just keep learning different stuff. I've done so much, but I'm 60. Now I want to share it with you guys and show you some of that stuff. Oh, let's see. So let's move on. I am going to be restarting the ebook soon. I will be working, I'm hoping really soon. I just need a better location to do it. I'm going to work on our drywall courses where you can take a intermediate or beginner course, an intermediate course, an advanced course, a business building course, a texture spraying course, a texture matching course. I'll have all these different courses so you can pick what fits you. And those are going to be really thorough, really thorough. It's going to be a lot better than trying to watch all my videos because you won't have to hear the, hey, thanks for stopping by today. You'll hear that once, and then the rest of the time is teaching. So it's going to get right to the point, and I'll give you an ebook to go along with it, along with our ebook that we're doing on the tools and techniques. So we're getting close to doing the Q&A here. Let's see, yeah, tray ceiling. That's what I was looking for. So let's see. Was there a first part to that? Oh, okay. You have a 10-foot wall. We'll go ahead and do Q&A now. You have a 10-foot wall, a tall 12-foot wide wall frame. Well, generally on hanging drywall, you want the fewest seams possible. So you can get drywall up to 16 foot, I think it is. When I was last doing new construction, biggest we had was 12 foot. I know now they've got bigger. We used to only have 48 inch wide. Now you can get 56 inch wide. That's for 9-foot ceilings, and you only have one joint. We used to have to put a 1-foot belly band in there, real pain. So drywall's evolved. So the basic rule is put the fewest joints as possible. If you can put a 12-foot sheet on a 12-foot wall, that's what I would go for. And let's see. Thanks. I appreciate the positive comments. Okay, so anyway, if you want to start highlighting any other questions, vertical seams are not the way to go. You know, let me address that real quick. I see a lot of times where people hang drywall up and down and horizontally. Well, when we did it, we hung 99% of it horizontally. I probably won't get into that right now because it's a little bit complicated, but a lot of it has to do with speed. We ran taping tools, and if let's say you're taping a wall that's 20 foot long, if you stand everything up, you got to go down, up, down, up. Well, if we do it the other way, we start at one end and walk 20 feet and we're done. It's not quite that simple, but sort of. So it's basically just a faster way to do it horizontally. But if you want to hang it vertically, the advantage is fewer butt joints. So that's why I say it's kind of complicated. Both work. It's just a matter of minimizing your joints, and especially butt joints. Butt joints are the hardest one to finish by far, especially for novices. Okay, I think I saw this one earlier, so I'm going to pop that up. Fixing a cracked ceiling when you can't get a plywood backer in. Cracked ceiling. I've got a video out there about doing repairs on a cracked ceiling, and I would recommend that you go watch that. Let's see if I can pull that up by chance. There'll be some other ones here. Yeah. Okay, so this one is my video on repairing a cracked ceiling. You can see the title of it, How Can You Repair a Large Crack on the Ceiling? And I covered how to do that without putting any backing in. So basically the short and sweet of it is I put a lot of screws in the ceiling. Let's see if I can get to that part. I went too far. You can see the screws right there, so I re-screw off all the joints, and I always push on it a little bit and see how much play there is. If there's very much, I'll put 2 on each side, get it good and solid, mesh tape it, hot mud it. I've never had a problem. And for those of you that just came in or something, I've done drywall repairs only for like over 20 years. I probably fixed 10,000 different repairs, who knows, but I just don't get callbacks, so my methods work. There are other ways to do it, but you don't really have to put backing in. Just got to make it strong again, retape it, float it out. You can peel out the tape out the middle if you want, but let's see. Hanging new drywall, should the first sheet start at the ceiling or floor? Well, the way we always hang like a house is we hang the ceiling first, and then we pick the horizontal sheet up to the ceiling, hold it tight, and then we put the bottom sheet in, and there will always be about a 1/2 inch gap, and we have a drywall lift. You just put your foot on it, lift it up, and put screws in it. So ceiling, top sheet, then bottom sheet. Let me clear my throat again here. Oh, forgot. This is why I said in a house we do it that way. Commercial, you often don't even have a ceiling to hang. It's just walls. And yeah, you need to check with code if you're doing much hanging, because every area is a little different. Sometimes they want double layer this or that, or more screws. I worked in Seattle for 2 years, and it's a high earthquake potential zone, so they have these things called shear walls, and they would make us put 2 layers on and nail it off with these long, really long nails, and we had to put them like every 3 inches or something. You'd stand there for 15 minutes and nailing off one sheet, it seemed like. Yeah, I'd muted my mic. I have a hard time keeping my chest clear lately. I actually did a nebulizer a little bit ago to try and help. I just have a hard time with that. Yeah, commercial has fire stops, and it's totally different on commercial. So any other questions? And since you may have just popped in, I'm just going to be real brief and say I think it's getting better. I'm doing juicing every day. I juice my own juice from mostly cruciferous vegetables and a little bit of fruit. Seeing more doctors and more alternative medicine doctors and such too. So I'm working on it. Oh, let's see. Just looking for other questions here. Yeah, I have to. I know all too much about naps. I wish I didn't need to, but I take a nap pretty much every morning at about 10 a.m. I just can't wake up anymore. And by the way, my faux finish techniques are not your traditional ones. These are advanced techniques, so I'm not likely to show you sponging, rag rolling, that kind of stuff. You can pick that up anywhere. I'm going to try and show you some techniques that are a little more advanced. That's why I took this guy's class. He taught really advanced stuff. You know, sometimes we get these run of bad lucks and lucks, and I try and keep the attitude that it's going to happen to everybody. I don't think anybody's going to go through 60 years of life without some little runs of bad luck, and I've certainly had my share of them. Since my wife and I have been together, I mean, some of you that don't know, we've moved 9 times in like 11 years, not because we wanted to, just because sometime we just had to. It's going to get better. I have faith that if we just keep working hard, work as hard as I can. I can't, like I said, work long days anymore, but I try and focus on the things that are the most important, and one is my health, and 2 is try and get us into our own house. We've rented for 11 years now, and we're tired of it. Because, you know, for those of you that don't know this, I never know who knows what story I'm telling here. I used to have, well, this house you see in this picture here, that was the only house I've ever owned, and I'm 60. And long story, but I've moved a lot in my life due to construction a lot. Hang on again. But I did have a pretty nice house once before. I had this house here. This was had a 2,100 square foot 8-car garage with a house built on top, and it was really nice inside the garage. This is what it looked like kind of when I moved in. It had pretty good lighting. It had skip trowel on the walls, painted, bullnose, painted floors, half bath, heated. You can see I was cutting a hole in the wall right here. That's when I just moved into it. So I'll get back to it. And then when my wife and I met, we had this place with a nice big shop. That's actually the shop. So here's the house. We had a little place out in the country on 20 acres. My dad and I were buying that together. We were going to split it up, and then he passed away suddenly. So that's why we've had to move so much. But we did have this big shop, and we're going to get back to that. Yeah, there's a lot of country songs about bad luck. But like I say, we want to end up in the country See, I think I had some other YouTube videos up here. Let's see. Yeah, like this is another Golden Eagle log home. And this is kind of the style that we are just in love with. And I plan on doing a lot of the work. If we build one of these, I will do what I can of the work because I can save money. I can be the general contractor. But you end up with just stunning homes with these guys. And we're about halfway there on income. We need to make about twice as much as I'm making right now, but that will happen once I'm able to put out more ebooks and drywall courses and get back to putting out 2 or 3 videos a week. Oh, let's see, what time is it? 6:48. Okay. That's why I do it, honestly. You know, sure, I want to make money, and it's a tough way to make money because the first 2 years of being on YouTube, you don't make hardly anything. Matter of fact, I can show you guys a little history of that if you want to see it. But I think the first 2 years, I didn't make really anything. Let's see, if we go to revenue, we're, like I say, we're doing pretty good now, but this is over 6 years. So now you got to divide this income up by 6 years. It sounds like a lot, but you can see for years we didn't make anything. And then we started making, see, this is how much we made per day. So $3 a day. And then in 2019, $50 a day. And then $100 and some a day. And then we had this big spike here recently where we made quite a bit per day. I can't narrow it down, but then nowadays we make $150 to $200 a day. So it's happening. Yeah, I'm good on computers. I actually built my own computer. I'll actually give you guys a peek at what I'm working on here. Let's see, where'd it go? Military, and I've just always, like I say, I like learning stuff, electronics, whatever it is. I mean, I graduated top of my class in the electronic warfare school, so I got a pretty decent understanding of electronics, so I decided to build my own computer. My symptoms during the COVID, well, I went in the first day with a little bit of a fever, just feeling general malaise. They sent me home because I had typical high blood pressure. I often, when I go into the ER, I seem to run about 200 over 110 or 120. I have bad blood pressure too. And they sent me home thinking that's all it was. And the next day I was back because I threw up like 12 times and I was getting severely dehydrated. So they admitted me. I ended up running 103 fever, lost my sense of taste, extreme body aches. I actually had to beg them for oxycodone, and I don't like oxycodone, but it hurt that bad. So it was all the symptoms but the chest congestion. And then when I got out of it, I thought I was going to be over it in a few weeks. And 18 months later, I'm still extremely weak. I mean, so weak and tired I can barely mow the lawn. it's really hard to go do a job at all, so I quit doing them. I do one now and then, and I just tell people it's going to take me 2 or 3 times as long. Oh, you saw my Dymo label printers. Yeah, I like gadgets and electronics and stuff everywhere. But I also used to use that when I had my biodiesel business, which, I don't know, some of you may not know about that, but at one time I had, I had a business where I manufactured biodiesel. I called it Easy Biodiesel. I had 3 distributors across the country, 5 employees, a warehouse. This was one of their trucks that we got wrapped, and my distributors all had these wrapped trucks. And it all started with me writing this book right here. And you can see that there's my name, so I did write the book. I wrote that. It got me into manufacturing equipment. I ended up putting this biodiesel processor in the Chicago Museum of Science and Industry on a TV show called Garage Mahal with Bill Goldberg. If you look that up, you'll see me there. But yeah, I guess that one's clear. We had the whole thing. I even installed one. These are all 500-gallon tanks. So this one would make 2,200 gallons of biodiesel at a time. And I went there and built all this by hand, one piece at a time. Took me a week. They built the catwalk, but I did the rest of it. So I have done a lot of things. I've repoed cars. I've ran a pawn shop for 4 years. I may do a video one day just about my life experiences, because I've just done a lot of different stuff. What is a simple way to patch many screw holes and nail holes in drywall? I got a video out there about that. And I put that video out because I saw a lot of you doing a method of repairing that really wasn't very good. I moved into a lot of rental houses where you put a big silver dollar size spot of mud, sand it a little bit, and leave it, and it looks terrible. And I've been in some really nice houses with that, so I thought, let's see, I'll type this in here and see if I can find it. So I thought I'd go ahead and put one out about it, so you can see it's right there. So basically, on a nail hole, all you really need to do is to put a little bit of mud on it and rub across it. That's it. Just wipe it off. Don't try and sand it flat, retexture it. It's a nail hole. If you are doing that on a smooth finish, you might need to put a second coat on it and then sand that smooth. But put really thin coats if you do that. If you're going to fix like a bigger one, you can get up to about 1/8 of an inch or so, 1/4 inch with just mud, nothing else. Just don't put these big old gobs on it. But go watch that video. It'll help you out. Oh, let's see. Screw holes. But yeah, I got so many things that I still want to pass on to you guys. Tips, tricks. You know, there's a lot of other, well, there's a couple other YouTubers out there that do a good job of showing basic drywall skills like mudding, taping, coating things. Like Vancouver Carpenter, he's a good channel. Paul Peck Drywall, he does a good job. Paul Peck does more repairs than new stuff. Vancouver does a lot of new stuff. I did the new stuff for 15 or 20 years before I moved on to nothing but repairs. And after 20 years of doing nothing but repairs, I've done about every kind of repair you can imagine. Oh, any other questions? Anything? Health, techniques, tools, anything like that? Let's see what else I got here. Get this back up here. Yeah, see, when my wife and I met, I owned a tractor too. And yeah, so when we met, we had that house there. You can see it had no lawn, so I used my tractor. We put in a nice lawn. Then we had a hot tub and all these things. So I'd put probably $15,000 in improvements into this. I'd insulated it. I'd done all kinds of things. The shop that we had there, this building, it was mostly gravel. I poured concrete, put in a septic system, put in a half bath. I spent a fortune, and then my dad passed away before we got it split up. Well, the bank got it. So that's just some of the bad luck I've been through, but you know, it's only going to turn around if I keep working hard on changing things, and we are getting so close now. What I got to really focus on is finding more sponsors, because the amount we make off of a YouTube video is something like 0.0005 cents per video. I mean, it's really, really low. So I appreciate you guys all watching it, but there's a lot more that we need to make it grow. Like, if you guys want to help us out in the simplest way, hit the thumbs up every time. Even a thumbs down helps, but just hit one of them. Comment, that helps. Sharing it, watching a playlist, watching the whole video instead of just parts of it. Those kind of things make YouTube show our videos more. And then we do have Patreon that you guys can come join us on Patreon, for example. There, like that one right there. That's if you look that up, you can join us there, and that's where you can get some support from me just by joining. We have membership through the YouTube thing where it says join down below. You can join there. I'll put a lot of that on my website once I get that done. Also, I will mention we do have an online store with ebooks. Thanks, Robin. We got a few things in there. That's where my ebooks are going to land. And then all the Amazon stuff is in a separate Amazon store. And this is what I was just talking about here a second ago. And let me clear my throat again. Oh, I hope everybody's been safe this year with all this crazy COVID stuff. We've got quite a few friends that have really taken a beating. We've lost some people close to us. This has not been a good year and a half, and it's not looking good for another 6 months or so, at least. Oh, let's see. Any other questions here, comments? Where can we find a link to your website? Well, it's pretty simple. I just put it right there. I mean, if you remember my channel name, That Kilted Guy, it's just thatkiltedguy.com. Now, like I said, I'm completely redoing it. So if you go there now, you'll see the old version, because what I did is I duplicated it. So I'll redo the whole thing over there. And then when it's done, I'll swap them. And then you'll see the new version. I help so many people out with these things. I really, really enjoy seeing your comments about how we had one earlier. I think it was on my channel. There's a comment. Let's see if I can find that one. It was actually one of the reasons I keep doing this. No, go this way. Okay, here it is. All right, let me switch to that screen so you can see it. So I'll read it to you in case you can't read that. This top one right here says, I don't normally comment on videos, but hands down, your tips have helped me immensely. My brother and I were going to fix up my duplex with hopes of going into real estate. He passed away in an accident. Thanks to this video and many others, you've got my skills up pretty well. And he's now able to tackle this project himself. And that's why I do this. I love helping you guys. I mean, I know some of you are going to try this anyway. So if you're going to, you might as well have some proper teaching. And I try and teach you the method to do it, not just let you watch me do it. So I think it helps more. Let's see. What do I think of the hand pump spray texture gun for putting on texture? You know, I think I tried that thing a long time ago and wasn't impressed. I've tried quite a few different things. There's better ways. If you're going to spend a little bit of money, the Easy Pro texture sprayer that I reviewed recently, that one works well. It really depends on what kind of texture you're doing. Still, my favorite is going to be my hopper. It'll hold more mud. Overall, it's cheaper, and I can control the pattern so much more. I've got a video out there about that, and it can really help you. So if you're going to spray texture, be sure and go watch this one. I'll show you which one it is here, because I walk you through and show you how each variable changes the texture. But I also show you how you really don't need to know all that. You just need to know like two or three different variables. And with that, let me make sure this is the right one. Yeah. With that, you can do all kinds of different textures. So let me skip to this part here. Where is it? Should come up here soon. Maybe I passed it. I've got a little chart on here that shows how all the variables interact with each other. There. So that right there shows how there's variables like tip size, CFM, air pressure, trigger pull, distance from the wall, how thin it is, so on. And I show you how you can modify your texture just by doing that, or changing those variables. Yeah, the mobile home, it basically amounts to, I don't have the money. Like I said, my YouTube channel pays the bills. I can't really go out and do drywall. I'm just too tired and too weak, and I won't stand customers up. I have more integrity than that. So if I can't be there, I just won't do it. So we need a down payment, or we need to use my VA loan. If we use my VA loan, then we have to live in it for a year, and that's not where we want to live. So we just chose to not buy it yet until we can come up with a down payment. And then, yeah, we may start with flipping a modular or a trailer house. So we're still looking all the time, but let's see. I've got a ceiling that has popped out after water damage. The guys I know why do. Yeah, if you've got water damage, I'll tell you the truth. Ceilings are one of the hardest, and that's often because it's not like a fist hole or a doorknob hole. You got one spot and it's flat. With the ceiling, if it got wet, it may be like 4 feet across or bigger, and then all that insulation above that may fall out. I've got a video on that. I can answer just about any comment with a video, but it's getting hot in here with all these monitors running. Let's see. But it's honestly probably more than most people should tackle. But if you do decide to tackle it, or you have somebody else do it, you might want to at least check out this video. And it would be this one here. Hang on. This is me cutting the sheetrock outside barefoot in the winter. I get a lot of good comments on that, but that's my neuropathy for you. But you can see I show you how to come in and cut it out, and you see all the insulation that falls out. It's a nightmare in a way to repair a ceiling. So I would recommend that you get some help, either a journeyman drywaller, but if you do decide to do it, watch this video. It'll help you at least. Oh, you have seen it? Yeah, those are tricky. I really recommend most people stick with smaller stuff because, as you know, drywall is an art and it takes a while to develop that skill to do anything that big. But one thing that could help is these skimming blades that I've shown in a few other videos. They really help you put it on much flatter than trying to run a little blade down multiple times the way novices often do. Yeah, the best way to cut and replace it. Yeah, so you know, right now I get multiple requests for repairs all the time, and I was told recently that multiple times by this customer that this valley was really going to miss me because there's not many drywallers that specialize in drywall repairs. They dabble in it, and right now most of them are so busy with other stuff they don't want to mess with the repairs, whereas that's all I wanted. So if I wasn't so unhealthy, I'd be busy as heck doing drywall, but I'm going to focus on the YouTube stuff. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, you know, as far as the budget, except it depends a lot kind of on what texture there is. There's so many different textures. If you do a stomp brush texture over it, that helps hide a lot of things, and it might be the solution for you. So if you don't use too much hot mud, I use a lot of hot mud, but that's because I can put hot mud on and get it really flat the first time. I don't have to sand it. If you got to sand, your best bet is to stick with regular joint compound and just keep working it with the whitest blade that you can. And if you take your time and you might have to do 5 or 6 coats as a novice, but it's better than leaving a hole in your ceiling if you can't find anybody. So in case you don't know what I'm talking about when I refer to a skim coating blade, this is a skim coating blade, and that one's 24 inches. But you can get skim coating blades up to like 40 some inches. Any updates? Yeah, you know, I feel really, oops, my wife changed out for me. I feel really bad about not getting that book out when I was going to, but shortly after that's when I got sick, and I just have had a hard time just surviving and then moving and everything else. It's, you know, this summer I mowed my lawn once a month because that's all the energy I had. I have to allocate my energy to what's most important. And I've struggled just to put out a video a week or two. You should put out 2 or 3 videos a week to make a channel really grow. It's been a struggle to just put out one. So what I'm doing right now, this is how I'm going to try and get to that book, is my shop. If you watched a recent video of mine called Behind the Scenes, basically, you'll see that my shop, my garage, was an absolute nightmare. And that's from moving so much and then moving and not having energy to put it back in order. So this last week or so, I've been focusing on trying to put out maybe 1 video a week. I haven't put out a real good video in over a week, I think. And I'm focusing on cleaning that garage up. I can spend 2 or 3 hours a day on it. I'm getting it. It's getting there. Once I get that, I got to straighten up this mess behind me. That's why I have a black cloth over it. My office is also a big mess. And then I can focus on finishing up these ebooks and put out like 1 video, maybe 2 a week. But the focus will be on the ebook. But often I go out to shoot a video and it's such a mess. I spend 30, 40 minutes just trying to make it clean enough to shoot that video. And then afterwards, it's just a nightmare to walk through, and I got to work on it and clean it. So just been circumstances. Popcorn ceilings. You know, there's a lot of debate on what's the best way to do that. I can tell you that I've removed over 500 popcorn ceilings. And when I say that, I actually removed 98% of them. I've only skim coated a few. The only time I will skim coat is if I can't remove it. So either it has asbestos and I'm not allowed to touch it, or remove it anyway. I can touch it, but I can't remove it. Or it's been painted too much. But a lot of people say, oh, you can't remove it if it's been painted. Not really true. I've removed probably half the ones I've removed or more. Probably 3/4 have been painted. It's all in technique. That's why I've got that video out. I got a new one, a whole new popcorn removal video to release that I shot like 2 years ago. I've been hanging on to it because I also want to put an ebook to go with it, because you guys have so many questions about it, about the asbestos and the best way in skim coating or overlay, hanging over it. And so I'm going to answer all that in that ebook. But again, I haven't had the energy to write that. So I'm hanging on to that video. I will release it. My preferred way is by far wet scrape it. It's clean the day you do it. It sticks to your feet. It's messy that way. The next day is a little bit dusty because you got to scrape it all up, but it's not that bad. And if you skim coat it, you got to sand the heck out of it. So there's dust there too. And it takes, skim coating takes a lot more materials. It's a lot of work. I can do it faster. I could go in and remove, say, a living room size popcorn ceiling. I can remove it, coat it, and texture it, hand texture it in 1 day. So that's why I do it that way. And texture and skimming. It's just, yeah. You know, like I say over and over, drywall is an art. It does take time to get good at it. I try and show you guys the easiest way to accomplish a simple task, because I can't really show you how to be a pro overnight. I've made comments before that when it comes to taping and finishing new homes, I could teach you how to do a pretty good job in 1 year. But when it comes to hand finishing, like butt joints, things like that, you need at least 5 years to really be decent. And it took me 20 some years to get good at matching textures and getting this down to where I can go in and do a job way faster than most people. So let me give you an example. Coming up next week, I've got a job to do. It's 2 holes about this big in the ceiling and about 10 feet of joints that got wet and the tape just bubbled down a little bit. I think I can fix the whole thing in 4 to 5 hours. That includes the texture. It is a hand texture, and that makes it a lot easier. It's a heavy hand texture, but I can match it. And so I think I can do it in 4 to 5 hours. I charged him a fair price, what I should be charged, and I'll make really good money on it. It's the only reason I'll go do it right now. And I told him it may take me 2 or 3 days, depending on how I feel that day. And as far as asbestos, generally they outlawed it in about 1977. They allowed them to use up the existing stock. So there could still be asbestos in popcorn for a few years after that, but you're generally safe from about 1981, 82. From then on, it's generally not going to have it, but if in doubt, go get you a little test kit. You can pick it up at Home Depot. All total, it'll cost you around $50, $60 to get it tested. Are skim coating blades and knockdown knives the same? Nope. Back when I grew up doing this in the 80s, we used knockdown knives that were about 36 inches. They were huge. And it was a blue steel, and it always had this waviness to it. It just never was flat. So we didn't get the smoothest of knockdown. Well, these days, I quit using those long ago, and I'll show you what I use now. I use one of these. That's a Lexan blade. It will give you the smoothest, most even knockdown, assuming you don't have too many humps on your wall. It just allows you to get on it sooner. A metal knife smears it more. Trust me, if you've never used one, this thing, I've never gone back. I've been using this for 20 years, never gone back to a metal one. So what you saw previously up on that picture was a knockdown knife. And they are, a skim coating knife, excuse me. They are totally different. This is skim coating blade. It's just too stiff, too harsh. It's likely to smear things more. So if you're going to do knockdown, get that blade. It's in a link in most of my videos. Oh, let's see, anything else? Yeah, it's hard to keep work areas clean. I used to have a work trailer that some of you probably know about. I kept it pretty organized, and that's one of the keys to making a lot of money as a drywaller, as a repairman especially, is to let's say keep your work trailer really well organized. I think I can show you the inside here. Maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, inside of that trailer I had a bunch of shelving. I had everything very organized. I had pull-out drawers, all kinds of things, and the more organized you are, the faster you can get it done, and there you'll make more money. I never charge time and material, never, because I know what a job is worth. I bid it based upon my 35 years in doing this, and I bid it fairly. I get told all the time I'm not the highest bidder, but I'm usually not the lowest. Once in a while I am, but I bid it very fairly, and then I just know how to get it done really quick. And like the one I just told you about, that pays $580 for 4 to 5 hours of work. In the past, 20 years ago, it would have taken me 2 days, and I probably wouldn't have done as good a job. Yeah, Patreon. I've got levels on Patreon for as little as $3 a month. So if that's all you can afford, it helps us. It really does. Everything helps. On YouTube, money comes from like 15 different areas. It's kind of hard to explain. We got sponsors. We get free merchandise. Sometimes we sell that merchandise. We've got merchandise that we can sell, although mine doesn't sell very good. Let's see, we got YouTube membership, Patreon. You guys just send us donations sometimes to say thanks for the money we saved you. It comes from so many different ways, and it all adds up and it all helps. YouTube is currently the biggest, but it should be smaller once I put out my courses and books. That'll be the small part. Lead certification. I actually am a lead safe certified renovator. I've just never had to put that to use because it's like asbestos. Yeah, it's like asbestos, being certified to remove that. When you go to remove it, it costs a fortune, and so many people don't want to pay it. So with the lead safe thing, they generally just find somebody that'll ignore it. And oh, let's see. I plan on doing a video about zip walls too. I own those. They're great devices if you haven't heard of them. It's a great way to go in when you got to fix a ceiling, say. Instead of masking off the whole room, all the furniture, moving it out, I just make a room around the spot I got to fix with 4 poles that go up quick, and in like 5 minutes I have a plastic room. Keeps the dust down a lot. And then I do have a drywall sander with a vacuum attachment. My thoughts on gluing drywall. All right, I'm going to narrow this down to the last few questions here, so if you got one, get it in now. Thoughts on gluing drywall. Let's see. Well, actually, I don't like it. Is it better than screwing the drywall on? Maybe. I don't think so, because I've worked on so many homes, and generally you just don't have a problem if you do it right with the traditional method of screws. Glue is going to be stronger, and there's some times where it may come into play, like a concrete wall or something. But one of the disadvantages, if you ever have to do a repair or a remodel or something, getting that glue back off the studs could be a nightmare. Getting the sheetrock off is going to be way harder, and it just adds more labor and time for something that I don't see the big gain in benefits. So there's times when it does come into play, like maybe with soundproofing. There's green glue for soundproofing, but overall, I wouldn't do it on my own home, put it that way. And I plan on building a really nice home, so. The problem with hiring amateurs, I tried this. I hired my buddy who, he'd done a little bit of editing. Then I hired a friend who'd done a little bit of editing. I spent so much time trying to teach them what I needed out of the video that it just wasn't worth it. So hiring a novice, it's complicated. It's hard to explain. I hired a professional editing company a few months ago, and I plan on doing that again. But it's $1,500 a month. I had to borrow the money because we really didn't have it. And it was worth it, but I had to take a couple months off to get caught up so I can pay them again. And the advantage is they're pros. There's about 30 or 40 of them. And we still had to have a lot of conferences back and forth as to my style, what I needed in there, what I wanted, what I didn't want, and so on. Plus, most people that I hire like that, they don't understand drywall enough to know what I'm trying to teach. Therefore, they don't know what to cut, what to put in, so on. So it's just really tough. I kind of have to do everything myself right now. Whenever I'm doing a ceiling repair and I got to replace the insulation, I just go buy batt insulation. I try and buy the smallest one I can, and I found I get that at True Value because the big box stores have these ones where you open them up and it fills the whole house up with insulation. Okay, that's exaggerating, but it is just, there we go. It's like, if you get the smallest one you can, it'll still go quite a ways. But after you do a repair, then what do you do with all that bulky insulation? So I get these small ones and I just put batts up there. Works just fine because usually it's blown in. And you can't really blow it back in. It would be a nightmare to try and do that. So You don't. It's going to do a lot of damage. You just pull it off. It's going to tear a lot of the brown paper. Then you go watch my video on torn brown paper, because with that much damage, you need to treat it all with this product, and you need to treat it, pre-treat it with the way you cut it out and scrape off things. There's several steps, so go look up my video on torn paper. Yeah, I still just go with 3 in the field, and around the edges, and just never have a problem if you're doing it right. Usually the problems with drywall come from expansion, contraction, somebody not putting in screws. I went and fixed a ceiling one time where the ceiling was sagging. Turns out half the sheet didn't even get screwed off in the field, which by that we mean the middle. So of course it sagged. It took 10 or 15 years to sag, but it did. So often it's because somebody did something wrong, and this is still doing something wrong. A lot of times in the winter, we're in Colorado, they used to build homes without heat to save money. So the drywallers would be in there with these mushroom propane heaters, cranking them up to the max, and you'd have like 120 degrees up high, and it'd be frozen down on the floor. And then the moisture has nowhere to go, and things would warp. So that's a case of doing it wrong. One more quick break here to clear my throat right. And yeah, I see foam insulation. Well, that's one of the videos I kind of want to do. It's one reason I want to build a house. I've been studying how to build a really energy efficient home without getting too ridiculous, and foam insulation, closed cell foam, is a really good product for sealing up the exterior leakage points. But there's also a product called zip sheathing and zip R sheathing, which is a piece of OSB with a green coating on the outside, and you can get it with foam on one side, which creates a thermal break. There's a lot of science that goes into building a really efficient home, but it's not super hard either. It's just here in America, we tend to build really inefficient homes most of the time. So I jokingly say that I want to build a 5,000 square foot house that I can heat with 2 candles. And that's not too far off. So if you build it right, you get a really tight house where there's no air leakage, and then you get an air exchange unit, so you get fresh air, but you don't lose heat. So there's a lot that goes into it. So I want to talk about that one day. Otherwise, it's been over an hour and a half, so I need to end this live stream. I think my camera is melting and running down my monitor, it looks like. And I know I'm melting. I'm ready to get undressed. I don't wear clothes at home, so I'm ready to get undressed and cool off, because it's smoking hot in here with all these monitors going and the computer going full bore. And I'm going to get my computer back to mining Bitcoin. Just real quickly, I'll tell you, I got 2 computers, and they both mine Bitcoin. We make about $150 a month doing that, so check that out sometime. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for stopping by. And let's see. Anyway, if you guys want to see more live streams, let me know. I don't do them very often because they are honestly a lot of work. I spend about 3 hours getting ready. But if you do, comment down below. And once I close this out, and we'll try and put out some more. And if you got a subject you want me to cover on that, let me know on that too. Otherwise, thanks everybody so much for all of your support, all the ways you support our channel. I hope to help you out on your project again, as always. And take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next video.